do I give God what he wants? Not just me getting from God what I want, but how do I give God what he wants? And that is surrender. Surrendering to God. Because giving up what you want is the beginning of giving God what he wants. Now, everything that we talk about from every angle has a biblical base to put alongside of it. Happiness isn't anything except a command from God. In the book of Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse number 7, it says that you are to be happy. That's something that you are and something that we bring into the lives of others. Now, the Apostle Paul talked about it in 1 Corinthians 6:19. He said, what? Don't you know that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which you have from God, and you are not your own? He said, for you're bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God with your body and with your spirit, which are God's. Well, who is the one who is called the father of our faith? Abraham, right? Well, where did Abraham have a surrender toward God? In the book of Genesis, chapter 22, verse number 1, God speaks to Abraham, and he says, Abraham says, here I am. Here I am, Lord. And he said, now take your son. There's God speaking to Abraham. He said, take your son, your only son Isaac, take him up on the mountain and offer him to me there. This is what God is actually asking of Abraham. And in verse number 3, it says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him and his son Isaac. He took him up on the mountain. But there are also ways that you and I can actually refuse to give God what he wants. Now, Saul, the first king of Israel, what he did was that instead of waiting for Samuel to come by and make an offering to the Lord, Saul went out to do it all by himself because he was afraid of what the people were going to do. Remember, fearing God actually gives God pleasure, but fearing man may actually give you what you're looking for at the moment, but you've actually destroyed your relationship with God when you did that. So here it was that Saul, he went out there and he dealt with the Amalekites, but he didn't do everything God wanted him to do. And Saul was then telling Samuel, hey, look, Samuel, I did everything God wanted me to do. And Samuel said, hey, look, what's this bleating of the sheep, this lowing of the oxen? He said, Samuel said, has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as he does in obeying the voice of the Lord? Why? Because Saul didn't obey God. Saul did what he wanted. The first thing that you need to do is you need to, in bringing God pleasure, is you need to obey God's voice. Jesus said it in Matthew 26. Here it was that Jesus was now kind of coming toward the end of his life. He's wondering whether or not that he needs to go to the cross and be sacrificed, to be crucified. And he goes out to this Garden of Gethsemane and he falls on his face. When he falls on his face, he said, oh, Father, if it be possible, he said, let this cup pass from me. He said, but nevertheless, not as I will. He said, but it's what you want. And then in verse 42, he said, oh, my Father, unless, let this cup pass from me, but if it's not going to pass from me except I drink it, he said, your will be done. Honestly, your will be done. I want to sacrifice myself for you. Whatever it is that you're looking for is what I want to be able to give you.